Robert Bales, born June 30, 1973, is a former U.S. Army sniper who carried out the Kandahar massacre on March 11, 2012, in Panjwayi District, Kandahar Province, Afghanistan. As the youngest of 5 brothers, Bales was born and reared in Norwood, Ohio, a Cincinnati suburb. He went to Norwood High School, where he was the gregarious football team captain, and was involved in a variety of groups and activities, including theater. In his linebacker position, he was replaced by future NFL player Mark Edwards, whom he mentored. Bales temporarily attended the College of Mount St. Joseph after high school, then went to Ohio State University, where he studied economics for 3 years before dropping out in 1996. Bales worked as a registered broker for 5 financial services firms in Columbus, Ohio, after graduating from college. Employees and corporate headquarters were shared across the companies. They were rumored to be boiler room companies that used penny stock pump and dump strategies. He then relocated to Florida, where he co-founded Spartina Investments, a financial firm. Bales was found guilty for financial fraud in the handling of a retirement account by an arbitrator soon after, and he was compelled to pay $1.4 million in civil damages. The victim, Gary Liebschner, stated he never got paid a thing from the award. According to Liebschner's lawyer, they were unable to collect the judgment because they were unable to locate Bales, who had enlisted in the United States Army 18 months after the long-running arbitration case was launched. Spartina Investments went out of business in 2001, shortly after the fraud. In November of that year, Bales enrolled in the United States Army. Bales was assigned to the 3rd Stryker Brigade, 2D Infantry Division's 2nd Infantry Division's 2nd Battalion, 3rd Infantry, in Fort Lewis. He served in the Iraq War on 3 tours: 12 months in 2003 and 2004, 15 months in 2006 and 2007, and 10 months in 2009 and 2010. He reportedly damaged his foot during the Battle of Najaf in 2007, and he was treated for traumatic brain injury when his vehicle was rolled in an accident during the 2010 tour. Bales had minor run-ins with the law while stationed at Fort Lewis, according to public documents. He was charged with minor criminal assault after a fight with a security officer at a Tacoma area casino in 2002, but the charge was withdrawn after he paid a nominal fine and completed anger management sessions. In 2008, police were called to another altercation outside of a bar, but no charges were filed. Bales was posted to Camp Balembe in Kandahar Province on February 1, 2012, where he was in charge of providing base security for U.S. Army Special Forces and U.S. Navy SEALs involved in village stabilization operations. 16 Afghan civilians were shot and murdered on March 11, 2012, in the villages of Balandi and Alkozai, near Camp Balembe. According to U.S. Army investigations, Bales was the only person responsible for the shootings, and he broke the killings into 2 attacks, returning to Camp Balembe after the first attack and leaving an hour later. Bales had been drinking alcohol with 2 other soldiers on the night of the shootings, according to a senior military official, which was against military norms in combat zones. Bales admitted to the killings and told individuals what happened immediately after being apprehended, according to Defense Secretary Leon Panetta. He refused to speak with investigators and requested an attorney a few minutes later. John Henry Brown, Bales' civilian counsel who previously represented serial killer Ted Bundy, subsequently claimed, "I doubt the government will be able to demonstrate anything. There isn't any forensic proof. There isn't anything to confess." In May 2013, Brown changed his mind, indicating that his client would confess to the massacre in exchange for not facing the death penalty. 9 children, some as young as 2 years old, and 4 women were killed in the massacre. Bales was represented by civilian attorney John Henry Brown, who was assisted by military lawyers. Brown, who was hired by the sergeant's family, described Bales as mild-mannered, claiming that his client was outraged after seeing a friend's leg blown off the day before the killings, but had no prejudice for Muslims. "I think the message to the broader public is that he's one of our boys, and he deserves to be treated fairly." Brown has indicated that Bales was reluctant to serve and that the violent rampage was not prompted by alcohol, intoxication or marital troubles. Bales did not want to return to the front lines, according to Brown. He wasn't enthused about going on another deployment, Brown said. He was told he wasn't going back, then told he was going. Brown also slammed unnamed government sources, claiming that the administration is going to attempt to put this on one individual rather than the war. Bales had no history of mental illness and had gone through a rigorous mental health screening process before becoming a sharpshooter in 2008. In 2010, he was involved in a car accident and sustained a concussion. He received traumatic brain injury therapy at Fort Lewis and was later declared healthy. Investigators looked into his medical background and discovered no evidence of major traumatic brain damage or post-traumatic stress disorder throughout his 10-year Army stint. When it all comes out, it will be a combination of stress, booze, and domestic issues, he simply snapped, a senior U.S. official told the New York Times. An Article 32 hearing was held at Joint Base Lewis MC Cord from November 5 to 13, 2012, as part of the legal processes. Bales did not testify at the hearing, which included eyewitness testimony from Afghanistan via a live video link. Prosecutors asked for the death penalty at the end of the hearing. Bales declared on May 29, 2013, that he will plead guilty avoiding the death penalty and narrate the events of March 11, 2012. Bales pled guilty to 16 counts of murder and 6 counts of assault and attempted murder on June 5 as part of a plea deal. When questioned what was your rationale for killing them by Judge Colonel Jeffrey Nance, he stated he had asked himself that question a million times and added, "There's not a good justification in the world for why I did the horrific things I did." He said he had no recollection of setting bodies on fire, but agreed the evidence showed he had. He claimed that he took the steroids mainly to become big and jacked, and that they absolutely increased his impatience and rage. Defense attorneys pushed for a life term with the prospect of parole at the sentencing hearing, stating that he was a troubled guy who snapped, not a cold-blooded murderer. Bales took the stand to apologize to his victims, saying that if he could, he would bring them back to life. The chief prosecutor in the Bales case was Lieutenant Colonel J. Morse, a member of the U.S. Army Trial Counsel Assistance Program. The prosecution, which is seeking life in prison without the possibility of release, concluded their case by saying, "Sergeant Bales wiped out generations in just a few hours." Sergeant Bales has the audacity to plead for pity when he has shown none to his victims. Bales was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of release on August 23 by a 6-person jury. He was also degraded to the lowest enlisted rank, dishonorably discharged, and his pay and allowances were forfeited. The court commanding marshals general has the option of reducing the punishment to life in prison with the chance of release. 45. Villagers in Afghanistan and the families of Bales' victims were outraged by the ruling, claiming that he deserved to die. Bales is being held at Fort Leavenworth's United States Disciplinary Barracks. Thanks for watching this episode of Radio Mind. Make sure to like and subscribe, it helps grow the channel. Until next time, be safe and remember, don't let everyday stresses kill your spirit and imagination.